Hey, this is Jason Kanigan from Sales on Fire, and I wanted to get a bit of FaceTime with you, which means making a video like this, well, where we're kind of looking at each other and not using PowerPoint slides or anything like that. And that created a real problem because my house is not really set up for it. There's either glare or, things reflecting off my glasses and crap like that. So I found this particular spot, and hopefully this will do. Hopefully there's not a painting growing out of my head or something like that. I wanted to talk to you today about qualification, the qualification process. And what that means in simple words is working with somebody you want to work with. If you've ever had that kind of client that just makes you throw up your hands in despair and say, no amount of money is worth this, then this will be useful for you. What we first want to do with the qualification process is deal with the price shoppers, the people who call you up and say, how much do you charge? Well, how long is a piece of string, right? It really has to do with your self-confidence, your feeling of your expertise, belief in yourself, and then also the size of the project. Right? I'm simply not going to charge the same for a project that's going to bring in, $10,000 worth of revenue as I am for something that's going to bring in $500,000. I deserve to get paid a whole lot more for the one that brings in $500,000, right? So we can't really answer that question right off the bat. We need to stop the prospect's process and interrupt it. So when they call up and say, well, what's your price? You can say, appreciate the question. Before I answer that, I need to really find out a little bit more about, your project so that I can give you a real answer and see how they react to that. If they want a price and they really ask you twice, then you need to give them an answer, okay? Because otherwise they'll just fight with you. What we want out of an effective qualification process is to find somebody who's a fit on three things. Need, in other words, they have to want or need what you have to offer. If not, you're not a fit. They have to be a fit on budget, which means they have to pay you what you feel that you deserve for the project. And if you work for less, you're going to find yourself frustrated and disappointed and resent your clients. Is that a position you want to be in? I don't think so. And the third thing that you want to qualify on is based on personality fit. Can I work with you? If I can't work with you on a personal basis, no amount of money is going to make me attracted to that prospect. I'm just going to go find my work somewhere else. Work is available, it's plentiful, it's out there all over the place. I can choose who I have to work with. One thing that is really important that people in a sales position, which is us when we're selling our services, trying to find a match, is that we have the final say, not them, not our prospects. We have the final say on who gets to move from being a prospect to being a client. Okay? It's not their choice, it's our choice. And we need to remember that. Right up until we take the money, we can say, John, sorry, we're just not a fit. And you have to keep that in mind because your power comes from there. If you're desperate for business and it shows, you're never going to attract the right kind of client. You really need to get that desperation out of your head. And a big suggestion that I have about how to do that is to take yourself into a prospecting conversation, a qualification conversation, with the attitude that this probably isn't going to be a fit. And so if it's not, you don't get disappointed and beat yourself up, okay? If it turns out not to be a fit, you didn't lose the sale. I hear that all the time. I lost the sale. No, you didn't. You never had it in the first place. The only way to really lose a sale is through buyer's remorse. And that would have been a big mistake. I mean, you shouldn't have gotten into that situation. And that would be like, it took on the client and they weren't really sure about it, but somehow you got them on board and you took the money. And then, let's say you got the order closed at 2 in the afternoon and then at 7 you get that answering machine message, hey, Jason, I made a mistake here. I want my money back. That might be losing a sale, but somebody not being a fit, that is not losing a sale. And you need to go into these conversations with the attitude that, hey, we're probably not a fit on need, budget, or personality. And that's okay. It's okay not to be a fit. Too many of us are desperate to get business. And you could say to me, well, Jason, I need the business. Let me share this with you. The more aloof you are about, I really don't care whether somebody buys from me or not, the more attractive you are. Period. So look for those three things: need, budget, and personality fit. And personality fit is not just, do they flip out all the time, and does that anger bomb, resonate over into your area, even if it wasn't your fault, right? You're in the blast radius. You want to watch out for that kind of person. But you also want to avoid the kind of person who needs 1,000,001 revisions to what you did. When I take on a copywriting client or a design client of any kind, I tell them right up front, before any money changes hands, look, you get 3 revisions with me, and here's what a revision means. I give you something, you have a look at it, you say, I want these changes, and I make those changes. That's a revision. You get 3 of those. And if you want more than 3, it's going to cost you. Nobody's ever had a problem with that. But I say it right up front before they take the order on. Now, one final thing before I go. You do not want to go through your entire process where you interrupt their process and find out about their project and determine whether you're a fit or not, and then get around to price and have them say, okay, that's great, now I just got to go check with my partner. And you're like, oh, okay. About once a year, I do this. I'm at the sales trainer, makes a mistake, okay? And I forget to ask this question. Is there anyone else who's involved in making this decision who should be involved in this conversation? Pretty simple, right? I rush. Once in a while, I get squeezed in a corner for time, and I'm talking to somebody, and I got other things on the go, and I whip through it, and I forget, okay? And then they come back and tell me, yeah, I got to get my wife's approval, or my accountant's approval, or my partner's approval, or something like that, and bang, that can hurt. All right? I would say half the time or more you get into that situation, it's not going to work, because their partner is going to come in super skeptical, and they're always going to have the attitude that, well, Jerry, the guy you talk to, he's an idiot. I'm the smart one in the partnership, and, he'll buy anything. So now I've got to be super skeptical and really rip you apart. So you don't want to get into that situation. Find out before you do any of even the investigation work. Hey, is there anyone else who should be on this call? And postpone it if you have to, because nothing's worse than selling somebody on a thing, getting them all excited, ready to go, and then getting that deflation of news that they need to go get somebody else involved. All right, to sum up, you need to qualify on 3 things: need, budget, and personality fit. If you don't have all 3 of those things as fit, it's not good. You're not going to have a good client experience here. And it's better to get rid of these guys and move on. Okay? Somebody who doesn't really have a need for what you offer isn't going to be happy with you, and they're not going to tell their friends. Somebody who is not a fit on budget isn't going to reward you for your expertise enough, and you're always going to be frustrated. And the funny thing is they never know any good clients either to refer you to. They just know people like themselves who are struggling. And if you're ever going to get anywhere, you need to get up out of that group of people and move on to a different client base. And the third thing is personality fit. Are they going to drive you nuts expecting instant responses at 2 in the freaking morning because they sent you an email? It happens. You've got to lay out these ground rules ahead of time. This is how I work. If you don't like that, don't accept. Okay? We're not a fit, that's okay. Go into those conversations expecting that it's not going to be a fit. And when it is, great. It is a fit. I'm excited. And now you really know. This is somebody who I should spend my time and my energy on, who's worthy of my expertise. Awesome. I know this has been valuable for you, and I highly recommend going out and using this right away. The next conversation you're on, make sure you qualify for these things.